Some days ago, I cleaned up my studio and found my very first music computer. Atari ST. This machine was produced in 1991. It is 27 years old. 1 megabyte memory size, no hard drive, double density floppy drive and Midi. The Atari ST was the first choice in music production in the late 80s and early 90s because it had an internal Midi interface. Midi, Musical Instruments Digital Interface, was established in 1982. So, Midi is one of the oldest computer standards. Is it possible to use this Atari ST stock computer without hard disk for music production today? In the 80s, the studio workflow was a little bit different. One of the first commercial MIDI musical instruments was the legendary Yamaha DX7. An instrument like Genos would have been a dream for any MIDI programmers of this time, because of revo drums, mega voices, articulations and so on. All effects controlled by MIDI events. Of course we needed software. Notator SL was the first choice in music production in this time. Here you see the original package, the manual and the original discs. But these discs will not work anymore because Notator SL was copy protected by a hardware dongle. And later they replaced the original hardware dongle to a combination of dongle and MIDI interface, the so-called Log3. When the distributor C-Lab morphed to Imagic, they changed also the copy protection. Log3 was the new solution and only Notator version 3.2 supported Log3, a combination of a hardware dongle and a MIDI interface with 3 additional outports. It was possible to expand the Atari system even more. Uniter 2, MIDI outs E and F, and SMPTE timecode interface to control tape recorders. Hard disk recording was obviously impossible. Export, connected to modem port, offered 3 additional MIDI ports, B, C and D. So the Atari system supported 9 ports overall. Any MIDI port supports 16 MIDI channels, so the Atari ST in this configuration supported arrangements up to 144 MIDI tracks. Everything is hooked up. I connected the MIDI out port A of the Atari with MIDI in port A of the Genos and MIDI out port A of Genos with MIDI in port A of the Atari. The disc, the monitor, the computer. We will see what happens. I have no idea. 20 years of retirement. We will see. Voila, here we are. Here you see the desktop, the Atari sound, Notator program. Let's check it out. As you hear, we have a little bit flanging there. It is because of MIDI through. We switch MIDI through off. Perfect. The MIDI through problem. If a keyboard sends MIDI data to a computer and the computer sends the same MIDI data back to the keyboard, you will get the same MIDI notes multiple times. You created a so-called MIDI loop. The character of the sound is like a flanging effect. One possibility to cut the MIDI loop is to switch MIDI through off. Notator is a pattern-based program. That means you see the left side here. This window is the arrange window for the patterns. And here in the middle you see the pattern itself. Here the track parameters like channel, output, transpose, quantize, velocity, compress, delay, etc. etc. and the edit window. Let's record something. Works fine. See the score. And also the function, what I like, right click decreases the value and left click increases the value. And as you can see, the operation is really fast. How is it possible to record multiple MIDI tracks at the same time? The easiest way is to use the internal sequencer. Recording, quick recording MIDI. And here we go. This is the easiest way to create a clean multitrack MIDI file, because Genos creates for any track a setup bar at the beginning of the song to access sound and effect settings for every particular channel. Has nothing to do with Atari, by the way. I would do exactly the same for an actual system like the latest Logic version. Stop the recording, save the MIDI file and copy the file to a floppy disk, but very important, 720 kilobyte, double density. Now you can use a USB floppy drive. I don't have at the moment, but no problem. I found not only the Atari, but also a vintage PC with USB and floppy drive to copy the song data from the stick to floppy disk. Okay, file, load MIDI file. And here is the riddle. Here we go. As you can see, the song is loaded into the first pattern of Notator and consists of one track only, because it is MIDI file format 0. All channels are merged into one track. First action, function, demix all channels. Now we will get an individual track for any MIDI channel. Okay, everything works fine, also the settings for the song setup, without any problem. Let's check some other functions like solo. In Notator SL, it was possible to edit all MIDI data, like notes, controllers, pitch bend and sysx data. Everything works fine with Atari and Notator SL. The first version of Logic was also released for the Atari platform first. Later, the company Imagic released also versions for the Mac, Apple Macintosh, and very funny, you can see it here, IBM. The software company Imagic had a really cool slogan at this time: "Go to work with a smile." The development of the PC version was stopped when Imagic became a part of the Apple company in 2002. Logic was a milestone in the history of computer-based music production. Object-oriented, with fresh ideas like the environment, the heart of Logic so far. If you connect Genos with Logic, you are able to use the hardware controllers to control the software faders in Logic's environment. But if you are going to load the same previously recorded MIDI file, something goes wrong sound-wise. Open Logic and import the MIDI file. Again, all tracks are merged because it is MIDI format 0. Structure, demix by event channel. Obviously, it is not the same as before. And the reason is the handling of the MIDI bank select message at the beginning of the song. As a result of the onboard MIDI file recording, you will find the MIDI message controller 0, the controller 32 and the MIDI program change at the same position, here on position 131. You can check this in the event list of the internal sequencer of Genos. You will see all three events in Notator as well. Controller 0, control 32 and program change at the same position but in the right order. That's why everything works well in Notator. After importing the same file to Logic Atari, you see all events for the bank select message are there, but in the wrong order. The list starts with program change, followed by the controllers 0 and 32. The bank select message will not work like this. The sound selection is not correct. In recently published Logic versions, by the way, the import of the MIDI file is really clever and looks like this. The order is right because Logic sets the three MIDI events to three different time positions automatically. That's fine. For the early Logic Atari version, you can fix it manually by changing the time positions of the events. Important is control 0 has to be the first event of the MIDI bank select message. This is the so-called MSB, most significant byte. Control 32 has to be the second event of the MIDI bank select message. This is the LSB, least significant byte. Program change event has to be the last MIDI message of the MIDI bank select message. In case you know these strange things with other sequencers, there is also a great tool to fix these kind of problems automatically. PSRUT, it's a freeware. You can download on the website of the developer Heiko Plate. However, PSRUT is a great tool in any case because the tool will fix any problems like this. The program is for PC. After the data cleaning, the so-called XG optimizing, the file sounds perfect, also in Logic Atari. After data cleanup with PSRUT, the file looks like this. The first controller is controller 0, the second is controller 32, and then the program change. And here you see also a significant time distance between these controllers and program change. And now the song sounds perfectly. Midi is an old computer standard, but Midi was also a game changer. All the early tools we had more than 20 years ago still work. It is possible to do anything with the common Midi functions. Atari ST, a 27-year-old computer, in combination with Yamaha Genos, the latest tone generator, still works. Because everything is Midi. I hope you enjoyed, and I hope that you found also some tips and tricks for your DAW. And if you like it, please don't forget to subscribe. Thanks for watching. There is one more thing. Switching the computer off. Like this.